Let's see how steam trains made their way back into the Iowa landscape at the same time preserving Chinese rail history. Time to get started.
Fire and water have powered trains, moved people, and built cities since the early 1800s. Over the last decade, the Iowa Interstate Railroad has brought the sight and sounds of steam back to the Midwest. Robert Fanzen, who owns Steam Services of America, manages and maintains these types of locomotives all over the country. The two engines that have made their home in Newton, Iowa, are Chinese immigrants.
We have two QJs, the 6988 and the 7081, and they were built in 1985 and 1986. And they were basically a Russian design that was developed from early steam engines from the teens and 20s and 30s. And the American design was a design that was for big power, put on a lot of tonnage, and that's what the QJs are. They're a 210-2, a large locomotive for pulling heavy freight trains. So the Chinese went to the Russians and asked the Russians to help them design a locomotive, and they came up with the QJs, and there was 4,700 of those built in China over a period of early 60s all the way up until 1998.
In 2006, Henry Posner III purchased the QJs, hoping they'd resell to the American tourist railroads. Since there wasn't a market for steam, the QJs became part of Iowa Interstate's corporate identity.
In China, there's not a lot of respect for something that's 30 years old, because in China, anything less than 1,000 years old is modern. So they do not have the sense of rail history that we have. And it became pretty clear that nobody was really interested in preserving QJ locomotives. So we bought these locomotives and we started running them ourselves. Every year we do something with the locomotives. We've done a lot of benefit trips for fire departments. And of course today we have the NRHS chartering one of the QJs for the Cedar Rapids convention.
The National Railway Historical Society ran 2 back-to-back trips for its members during the summer of 2012. A highlight for the group was being able to watch the Chinese steam in action as it ran between Newton and Rock Island.
The thing that's unique about the steam locomotive is that it gets its power from coal or oil. You ignite the coal and basically heat the boiler up, and the boiler has water in it. It's like a tea kettle. So that firebox heats up that water, and then it turns into steam, and then steam goes down through a series of valves and pistons and basically powers the wheels. And that's where you get the power to, pull the trains. But the problem is that the steam engine is not very efficient, and it takes a lot of maintenance.
To be ready for a train trip like this, steam operations need a crew of 20 people.
Out of here. You done? Yep.
The majority happen to be volunteers who are experienced in running and servicing steam engines. Preparations start 4 to 5 weeks ahead of time, making sure the locomotive is able to run a few full days and stay tuned up overnight.
I'm the coordinator of the night watch crew, and so it gives it continuity, somebody that tries to be here every night, and we've been out for 6 nights now, and they take a lot of service. Some more modern locomotives wouldn't take as much physical labor to do the actual servicing with the different lubricants. Right now it's 24 hours a day. We put in 14, the road crew puts in 10. On average, sometimes it's more than 14.
Along with maintaining the locomotive for seasonal events, Franzen's crew has also spent many hours making sure the QJs pass federal inspection.
When we bought the steam locomotives from China, these engines had been operating about 20 years. So we oversaw the rebuild, and we did a lot of the upgrade work in China to meet our federal standards over here. Once we got the locomotives over here to our shop, we made the further modifications to make them operable here in the United States. You know, add in radios and telemetry devices, speedometers, FRA glazing. We had to work on some of the air brakes and those types of things to get them up to snuff here.
What's unique about those locomotives is that pretty soon they were the only QJs running in the world. The locomotive hauling the train today, the 6988, hauled the world's last regularly scheduled mainline steam freight. The 7081, which is the other locomotive that we have, hauled the world's last mainline steam passenger train. So we didn't pick the locomotives based on their history, but we certainly hit the jackpot when it came to world railway history.
It's the second generation of steam, where we brought it back in historic preservation and we rebuild it and operate it today. And the reason why we do it is because we want our children and our grandchildren to see what built this country.
I mean, a steam locomotive is an external machine. You see everything that's going on. You get to hear the chuffing of the exhaust going up the stack and clickety-clacking going down the rail and blowing the whistle. It's an exciting machine for children to know that it was out there and it's still out there. There's people putting big money into having something like this.